All right, welcome to World Extermination Radio. We have a very special episode today. I'm here with basically 1,000 people.
Yay.
So, okay, so before we start, I actually have a story I want to tell you guys. This is something that's never happened to me before. Darknation, you're gonna love this one. Okay, so on Thursday I was out. On Thursday I was out grocery shopping, and my eyes fell upon these little Debbie snacks. They're like these chocolate Swiss rolls, and I was just about to pick them up because these Swiss rolls, they're like, they're like so unhealthy for you. But they just look delicious. They're like made of like enriched flour and like processed sugar and stuff. And I almost picked it up, and I was looking at it, and I was like,
red flour.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, man. I gotta stop eating bullshit. So I put it back on the shelf. And so the next morning, I had a healthy breakfast. I had plain Rice Krispies with almond milk and blueberries, and a protein shake. So I went into work the next morning, and I went into work that morning, and I was like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm making healthy decisions. And
what about the meat?
And as soon as I got into work, I got to my email inbox, and one of my coworkers sent in this mass email to everybody at work saying, "Hey, I brought in donuts. Help yourself." And like I immediately turned into a fat boy and just helped myself to a bunch of donuts. So so I got like this Boston cream donut, and it was delicious. And I got an old-fashioned glazed donut, which is like a donut that was like double fried, and it has like these ridges with like extra glaze on it, and it's just delicious.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so after that, it's just way too many calories.
Fucking savage, man.
I know, it was just way too many calories for any one person to have for a breakfast in that morning. So shortly after that, I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the men's room, and I went into the only stall that was open, and I sat down, I took a shit, and then I went to wipe. And then after I was done wiping, I went to throw the toilet paper into the toilet, but I still had like glaze on my hands. So like as I was throwing, the toilet paper was like stuck to my hand a little bit too long. So like the trajectory of the throw like hooked around the toilet bowl and landed in between the stalls on the floor next to the guy's shoe, skid mark facing up. Oh. And I was like, oh my God. And I was, oh my God, it was so humiliating. And I just like quickly grabbed some toilet paper and picked it up, and I couldn't help but laugh. I was just like, and I picked it up, and I heard the other guy laugh, and it was just so humiliating. I just ran out of there and washed my hands real quick and got out.
Oh, and let that be a lesson to you. Don't stuff your face with donuts.
Yeah, man, it felt like shit.
I love a good poop story.
Yeah, anyway, this is World Extermination Radio, the show where we talk about Doom. I don't know why you guys are exchanging poop stories.
Doom. It's right there in the fucking title, dude. Doom.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of an introduction so people listening know who's talking, because I have like 1,000 people here today. So when I just say your name, just say hi, just so people know who's speaking. So today I'm here with Darknation.
Fucking you. I'm from Scotland, apparently.
I'm also here with DoomKid.
Oh, what? Yeah, me. I'm from Australia.
Where are you from, DoomKid?
And I'm from Israel, also Russia, also Latvia.
Yeah, joe-ilya's here from Israel.
Whatever. I have a lot of regions.
We're also here with Goatlord.
Hello, I'm from Texas.
And we also have MrGlide.
Hello, I'm from Michigan.
And we're also here with Megalyth.
From New York State in the U.S. I have a correction to make. The last time I was on, we were talking about the band that I used to be in years ago, and I said that we had played with Under Oath. My brother pointed out to me the band was actually Haste the Day was the name of the band.
Oh, okay.
Similar, same era, similar style. They might have even been on the same record label or something, just a little mix-up. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I recognize Haste the Day, too.
Didn't think I was full of shit or whatever.
You fucking liar. How could you?
How dare you?
Fucking poser.
Okay. So, Mr. Glide, last time I was talking to you, at the end of the show, you mentioned that there was something you wanted to talk about. You had like you mentioned something about like the weapon balance being kind of screwy. What exactly was that, Mr.
Just
Glenn?
like mainly like how strong like the super shotgun was in comparison to like you could really just use it as a rocket launcher. It was very similar in comparison to just like chop things down. And I really think that like the SSG alone is what like really transitions that Doom 1 gameplay to Doom 2, where it's just so much more efficient to cut through enemies with the SSG rather than like a normal shotgun.
Yeah.
I've got to agree with that in terms of single player anyway.
Yeah, you're talking about single player, multiplayer here.
Single player only.
Right.
That's true, and Doom 2 introduced a lot more mid-tier enemies, which the super shotgun is kind of balanced toward, I think. And I think they realized probably how much it sucks trying to kill a Baron of Hell with a shotgun. Maybe so the second time around they were like, maybe we should, if we're gonna add all these other like semi-tough enemies, maybe we should throw another weapon in there that's like a mid-tier weapon, sort of, to deal
Some
with the
weaker
mid-tier.
barons, some stronger shotguns.
Yeah. Well, the super shotgun is like, compared to the rocket launcher, it's like super ammo efficient, because like the rocket launcher, there's only so many rockets in each map, and then with the super shotgun, there's basically shotgun shells everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I think Doom is biased towards shotgun shells for sure in terms of
Just really wanted you to see the super.
Yeah, it's very it's not as inclusive as I'd like in terms of ammo representation.
Yeah, right.
It's really in your face.
I've been trying to do that.
One weapon to use, though,
Except Cindy Pearson didn't really use them in his maps.
It is fun. It is fun. Like I'm not ever saying like the super shotgun should be like actually changed. I was just noting on that, like how early a lot of megawatts like to throw a super shotgun at you, and it's really like giving you like a mini backpack, like how ammo.
It's a real simple weapon. It's a simple weapon. You can use it everywhere.
Yeah, so the super, it is kind of like, they do give it to you like right away and do in some megawatts. Can you, I'm trying to think of some megawatts offhand where that does happen, but like for example, Hell Revealed 2, they give it to you like basically right in the start room. And there's one, yeah, and there's one in Plutonia Experiment and like in the first level, I think. And yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it does like get pretty like, I don't know. Well, were you saying that like the ammo balance or the weapon balance in Doom is like kind of, in Doom 2 especially, is like kind of screwed up in that way?
Me? I wouldn't say it's screwed up. It's definitely different from most games.
Okay.
If you look at like its balance compared to Quake, like I can't really sit there and say I like prefer Quake's weapon balance more, because like the shotguns in that game kind of feel like shit.
Right.
But
yeah,
with how efficient like the super shotgun is just insane. It's if you use it properly, you're not gonna really run out of ammo with it.
Yeah. So what is Yeah, you're right. In right, in Quake it gives you like a super shotgun right away. Like they have a super shotgun in the first level too. But you're right, the shotguns like do feel like shit. They really don't like, even like the sounds of them are like really strong and powerful, but they don't really do a lot of damage.
Oh no, yeah, the Quake shotguns suck.
Yeah, much.
Well, even the Quake gives you the single barrel shotgun as your primary, like your, the first weapon you have, that and the axe. I personally, I never found the Quake shotguns, I don't know, maybe the double barrel one. I haven't played it in a long time, but the single barrel, I just remember it sounding like, when you shoot it, it sounds like somebody dropped like a handful of nickels on the floor or something. It doesn't it doesn't really have like any kind of power to it.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Cody?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Goatlord? I thought you were...
Resner,
Yeah.
For dropping nickels on the floor, apparently.
Yeah, but
I imagine he also did the Quake guy jumping, because that's got to be him just going, huh!
Yeah, surely is.
Oh, we should totally all do Quake guy noises right now.
Yeah. I love when you're jumping in the lava or the slime.
Yeah!
Nothing beats the voice acting of Blood, though. Blood has the funniest voices.
Yeah, there's like
It's
wailing
been so long
screams.
since I played it.
Yeah, some of the screams in Blood are pretty good.
But yeah, they're totally all nicked from other movies. And
When they catch on fire.
you ever played Blood 2?
I haven't played the second one.
It's completely shit. Don't.
It's shit. What's wrong with
I
it?
tried
What's
to.
wrong with Blood 2?
Like it.
That's a good
fucking
summary.
I didn't like it either. I gave it a chance, but I don't.
Well, what sucks about it? Is it the weapon?
level
I
design.
just I don't know. Like the distinguishing. I don't know. It felt like just any other like of the million run-of-the-mill FPS games that were out at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the
I
beginning
know
of the true 3D era.
I also noticed like they just seem to run out of time to make the damn game, so the last couple of levels are shit.
The old
I never
crap
even made it that far.
Well, the early 3D shooters, most of them have not aged very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Exception, really, not the rule.
Yeah, too contrasted with the environment.
Yeah,
Which is more like just single colors.
You had these polygonal enemies that looked real crummy compared to like nice crisp pixel art, and it took a few years before they were like decent enough that it was comparable to the pixel work. You know what I mean? Like it was a weird transition.
Yeah.
So what do you think about these the new second wave retro strafe style shooter things that are coming out now then? Because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Some of them
I
are
haven't played
shit,
any of them.
Some of them are good.
Has anyone played strafe?
Star
No.
Fox is a good
Yeah,
example, I think.
MrGlide, what do you think about
Any good?
Strafe?
I haven't had a chance to play it myself. I think I watched a trailer, but
What do you think about Strafe, Mr.
maybe
Glide?
one of these days. After I retire,
What
I'll
do you
have.
think about it, Glide?
Meh. Like I just like I gave it a shot. I said earlier in a thread, like I'd just rather boot up Quake 1. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, what is it about like Doom and Quake that just does everything better?
Even now.
Yeah.
It's probably called talent.
I think it sucks because like you can tell they threw a bunch of work into like the rendering of the gibbs and everything and how it handled all that, but like I really wish they had focused more on the gameplay because like all the guns feel like shit and like you don't really collect as many guns at the same time as you do in Quake and Doom. It's just it just kind of all felt really meh.
Yeah, what is it about like making guns feel right? Like it's not just the sounds, because obviously when we talk about something like Quake, the guns sound really powerful, but they kind of work like shit. You know, like the regular shotguns and the super shotguns are basically the lowest tiered guns in the game.
For me, like I like it when the gun not only sounds good and looks good, but like as soon as you fire it, you see that it's effective. Like it does what
Yeah,
rather than just sucking.
if it does visible damage to whatever you're shooting at,
Yeah.
sounding powerful and stuff like that is a big part of it. But when you blast, I think that's something that Doom did well with the bullet puffs and the blood puffs and stuff.
Yeah.
When you smash a bunch of like a crowd of imps with the SSG, like you see every single pellet hit them,
yeah.
and you can kind of tell that like you just put a hurting
You
on
just
them.
see a whole bunch of blood splatter all over.
That's something too. As much as I didn't really like the game as much, Duke Nukem 3D, I think the weapons in that typically felt pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Even the pistol, like it sounded good. It did pretty good damage, and the rocket launcher, obviously, like you could completely blow an enemy away. And
I'd agree.
I think that's the visible damage that you're doing, and that's why I loved in Doom 64 when you fire the chain gun, the way they make the screen shake.
So
and
satisfying.
it sounds awesome too. Like you know, you feel like the Terminator shooting that thing, and it like makes the screen shake. And
yeah,
well, the feedback that you get from using a weapon is something that it's at some point you can't really reduce it and describe it. You've just got to be able to boot it up and play it and go, it either feels right or it doesn't. And when you see these games where developers, something was missing, they somehow didn't see that there was a lack of balance or something didn't feel right.
Right. It's
you know what I like? I liked in Quake 2, the machine gun in that, when you fired it, it would pull your mouse towards the ceiling. I thought that was a very clever way of giving feedback.
It had a kickback. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too.
When it comes to a game like Doom, I think something that's like kind of fascinating about it is that the well, I hear a lot of talk about newer games, especially ones that involve multiplayer, is like focusing on weapon balance. And by doing that, they're giving some guns like pros and cons. Like some guns have like a really long range, but they don't do as much damage, or they don't fire as fast. And then they have guns with like a fairly short range that do a lot of damage, but like they can't shoot very far because they're inaccurate as fuck. And they have like all kinds of they're trying to like balance weapons so that every weapon has like its strengths and weaknesses, like a rock paper scissors type thing. But when you look at a game like Doom, it doesn't have like a balance. It has like a contrast. Like you start with the pistol, which basically does nothing, and then at the very end of the spectrum, you have a weapon like the BFG, which is like a nuclear weapon. So like, I think that's like kind of instrumental in making. I think that's kind of instrumental in making Doom feel as powerful as it is, because you start with a garbage weapon and it only works on garbage enemies. And then once you get the shotgun kills everything in one hit because at that point you're only dealing with like zombie men and imps and stuff anyway. But then you start bringing in demons and hell knights, and then your shotgun's not powerful enough. And then it has like these huge tiers of like stronger, powerful weapons, but also more powerful monsters to deal with them with. And that way you kind of understand how you understand like how different your weapons are from one another. And
are you basically saying that there's kind of a bit of a homogeny in the if all the weapons are supposed to be balanced in these new multiplayer games?
Yeah, because every weapon is like effective in its own way, but it doesn't make any one weapon look more powerful than the other. So it's not like rewarding to get a different weapon.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of modern shooters too. They all the weapons are, unless it's like a sci-fi game. You know, if you look at like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare games like that, all the weapons are based on real weapons. So, you know, they can't really throw like a BFG type weapon into a realistic shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I don't know what games can do about it, but like it's just like I do when I think about like I've seen like threads on Doom World say like the pistol isn't balanced in Doom because it's so shitty. But like that's kind of like part of what makes the other guns so good, is because you have a shitty weapon like the pistol that doesn't do anything. So like when you get the other guns, it's like, hell yeah, I got the shotgun. Yeah, and then once you have the shotgun, you start dealing with like Hell Barons and like arc vials and stuff. You're like, the shotgun sucks. I want a rocket launcher, you know?
Yeah, and the game, as far as the single player, has a progression too, where, you know, as you pick up more powerful weapons and become more of a badass, you face worse enemies.
Yeah.
So I think that was really good.
Well, except for the Spider Mastermind being kind of a, you know, one-hit BFG kind of.
I don't think they planned that very well. They probably also didn't know about like one-shotting Spider Mastermind when they did that. But I think originally I'd heard something about that they wanted to the episode order of the original Doom, Inferno and Shores of Hell were supposed to be reversed. Like Inferno was supposed to be episode 2. You go to Hell first, and then you come back to the subverted Demos base. And I think they changed that. I don't remember where.
I think you're talking about the final bosses. The final bosses got reversed.
Yeah.
But
I think the Cyber Demon was supposed to be like the general of the army.
Yeah.
And because, it's a stronger enemy and more dangerous in the right circumstances. Maybe not in Tower of Babel. Like nowadays, well, back then when you played it, it was like, holy shit, like, I probably died like 50 times trying to beat the thing. Nowadays, it's like, oh, Cyber Demon, whatever. And you just...
Just one?
You strafe around, yeah, right?
And that's the thing as well. I think, like, the way that they could have made both the Cyber Demon and Spider Mastermind battles better is doing that episode 1 ending thing where it takes all your guns before you go to the next map. Like, then it would have been a challenge with just the rocket launcher. But no, you go in with a BFG, 600 cells, that thing's done in like 5 seconds, dude.
Yeah, there's nothing more fun than fighting pistol, man.
Well, I've made the argument before that I think can be difficult to be fun in games because it's not that they suck. It's just that a lot of times they feel more tedious than rewarding.
The final bosses do?
Whether it's Robotnik and a Sonic game or whatever, a lot of times you're kind of left feeling like, yeah, that was kind of annoying.
Well, yeah, because in the final levels of all the Sonic games, they don't give you any rings.
Yeah.
So you die in one hit.
So boss levels, I think, are difficult to make as anywhere near as enjoyable as the journey, everything leading up to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
That is true.
Well, you could just go the Quake route and just not bother having any boss fights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that could
work the bosses.
too.
Quake
I think the
bosses.
Yeah, Quake 1 had bosses.
It had the first episode boss, right?
One big,
And then like the
this
final
is
boss
the
at the
boss.
end.
But they were mostly just like puzzle. You didn't fight the boss directly. You kind of just had to solve a puzzle.
It was kind of like an obstacle. The boss.
So what do you
One
think would
game
make
that
a really good
I don't know if
boss?
this would be a common opinion, but like one game that I thought did the boss battle really well was Mario 64 because it was actually challenging to get Bowser to fucking hit the little spiky ball thingies while the arena was flying around and shit.
Yeah.
They create attention.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I enjoyed the bosses in Doom 2016, but it did kind of feel like such a marathon after a while. Like, damn it, you're just trying to get past it, and it is satisfying, but it sort of felt like, okay, here's the boss,
Yeah, the Cyber Demon seemed kind of like anti-climactic to me because he just took fucking forever to kill.
Yeah, it was a little long.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I have all my charged up
you don't want it
weapons,
to
and I'm just
linger
gonna
on
keep
too long.
shooting at this guy forever, and jump over his little fire attacks and dodge his missiles over and over and over again until he's dead.
And then you have to fight him again.
So maybe they just kind of overdid it with. That's one thing I see in a lot of projects that I've bitched about this before on like the forums. Winter's Fury is a episode that comes to mind, and there's been other ones too that. And I know, like, someone just said that it's hard to make a boss, and especially in a game like Doom where it's a first-person shooter and you got all this dodging and shit flying everywhere. Making a boss fun to fight but also challenging. I think a lot of the bosses, like, they overdo it so much. Winter's Fury, I think I was playing on Ultra Violence, and it was pretty. I died a few times here and there, and it was hard, but it wasn't crazy. And then you get to Baphomet, which is kind of like just a spray edited Archvile, and I could not beat this boss for, like, I tried, like, I gave it the college try, I could not beat it. And finally I was like, well, I want to see the ending, so I put on God mode, and it took me, like, with God mode on, and it giving myself ammo with cheats, it still took me like 20 minutes to kill this boss, and I was like, oh my god, how can anyone actually accomplish this? And they just, like, overdid it, and I think, like, maybe, like, a lot of people are, like, jaded by cyber demons, like we said, like, oh, only one cyber demon, and the Spider Mastermind can be a pushover if it's not used right. So I think WoD authors tend to overdo it, thinking that they need a really hard boss. And you mentioned the Cyber Demon in the new Doom, which I haven't played yet, but I think maybe they had the same feeling that the Cyber Demon is this big, tough, almost indestructible badass. He should be really, really hard to kill, and maybe they just overdid it in how hard they think the boss should be.
Yeah, well, when it comes to like actual difficulty, it doesn't really have anything to do with the amount of health the monster has. So like if you're just
so it's like one of those like once you figure out his patterns, is just go through the motions kind of thing, or
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to point out about both the Cyber Demon and the Spider Mastermind in Doom 2016 is that one counterparts gave you an environment to kind of run around and explore, and there were other monsters, and I think that kind of made them away. And in Doom 2016, it's just you and the one monster in a very tiny,
just a one-on-one battle.
Yeah, I kind of think a small horde army that's kind of coming after you as well, and just don't overload it on the HP, could have been more entertaining.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Some modern games trying to implement that.
I'm sorry, what, Joe?
That's where the best Doom wads really, when they strike that perfect balance, is when you're being pressured from all sides. Maybe not to the point of being ridiculous, but you can't just stand there and hold the fire button and face forward. You have to watch your flanks, and you got to move around rather than just strafing back and forth holding the fire button.
Yeah, when it comes to Doom, I don't think they're really
clever use of the arch file, things like that. Enemy spawners, just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, like when it comes to something like Doom, like having boss battles and stuff, like you can't really make like a single boss that's going to be any harder than like a massive horde of monsters where they're like staged in such a way where there's like some sniping at you from one side, and then you have a crowd coming from you from behind, and all kinds of things like that. That'll be infinitely more complicated than fighting any one single monster, unless you have like a monster that's like teleporting all over the place and has all kinds of different attacks. But when you have a boss like that, that's not even fun to fight anyway. It's just like managing monsters.
Too much at that point. Like, it's good to have the balance.
Like managing the kind of monsters that you have to deal with, and like picking which like ones you want to kill, like prioritizing who you need to kill first and things like that. That's kind of like the exciting part about Doom. Like if you have something with something like just the Cyber Demon, it's just one monster. It just sits there and he's a single target, and you just keep dodging his basic attacks, and there's really not much more to it than that. Just shoot him until he's dead.
It's kind of a reminder that I guess even id Software kind of fell prey to some of the revisionist views of Doom, being like, he's not a badass human. He's this immortal badass, or like, it's some monsters coming at you, and then, they remember stuff like the exploration, but some of these things seem to be a result of like, I guess maybe looking at Doom that's not entirely accurate.
Yeah, well, the Doom guy is like, he can only take so much damage. I mean, he can take 2 Revenant missiles, but still, you can fight like thousands of Revenants at a time, depending on how good you are.
Yeah, it's a direct, like, Doom guy could just be, for a novice player, he actually does kind of seem just like a sort of general dude. But then once you really work out all the nuance about how Doom's weapons and movement works and shit, that's when he starts feeling like a superhuman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as you become really good.
When you start exploiting strafe running and other bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doom has like a really, really high like skill ceiling, because like you're really not a badass. Like this kind of like pairs in like almost in it almost correlates with how like the weapon balance is kind of shitty, because when you first start Doom and you play like Doom 1 for the first time, you're probably like when I played it for the first time, I was playing with the keyboard and using the arrow keys to turn and stuff like that, and I couldn't dodge shit. And but you also get like shitty weapons and stuff too.
That was how I played too.
Yeah.
My first time playing Doom was on the fucking SNES.
On the what?
You poor bastard.
I finished that one.
My first time was on GBA. Game Boy Advance.
Really?
That's not quite as bad.
It's pretty close though.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Advance isn't that good.
The GBA feels way better than the Super Nintendo, to be honest. At least it fucking responds when you press the button.
I guess you're right.
I've never actually played like Circle Strafe in the SNES version.
Oh, that's just that was the thing.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah, you
It's
can.
been a while.
So what would happen?
Was
in
it
this,
a
in this-
trick of holding down different buttons at the same time, or?
No, I didn't know. I'm pretty sure you can't. I don't remember being able to. I own it, but it's just so shitty. I never beat it in full. But I remember not being able to circle strafe and having a huge input delay.
Whoa.
I've never played that version myself. I played the PlayStation version of Doom and Doom 64. That's the only consoles versions I've ever played.
Arguably the two best console versions, honestly.
Yeah, PSX Doom was my first intro into Doom.
I remember just being so blown away that it had these high quality sound effects and this. I was so kind of impressed by the music. I remember turning down the sound like almost all the way the first time I played it because I really amazed that something so atmospheric changed the game immediately. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does have a big impact. That was a major thing when I first played Doom 64. I was like blown away with how much more atmospheric and actually scary the game was with those enhanced sounds.
I saw this this picture on the
With the high
internet of
resolution.
like it was like a
I
snippet.
play sometimes with the PSX sound pack for the sound effects, just because it even just with regular Doom, because it just sounds so much cooler.
I saw this picture on the internet of like it was like a snippet of like the back of the PlayStation Doom case, and it had like a quote from Romero, and it said, "This is like the Doom that was meant to be," or like the best Doom yet, or something like that. Do you think that's true? Do you think like
See that.
do you think like PlayStation PSX Doom is like the peak of like what Doom is supposed to be?
I bet that they saw and heard the music and the better sound effects, and I think that at that exact moment, it probably the most impressive thing they'd seen with the game.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh,
Yeah, and
wow,
also
this really enhances that horror vibe.
The colored lighting and the animated skies probably made a big difference too.
Yes.
That one sky where it's all just fire shooting up into the sky, like that looks cool. Like I think for its time, that probably was the best version of Doom that you could get a hold of, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of animated skies, I wish I could have like lightning like flashes in my maps.
It's possible to do with Hexen format.
Yeah, but fuck Hexen.
No,
I'm a Doom nerd. I do like Hexen though, but I prefer Doom, and I'm such a vanilla Doom nerd. I only like playing with like limit removing and vanilla and stuff.
I was playing just as an aside. I was playing some Capture the Flag maps. I don't know, the last couple of weeks, and one of them had Doom maps, to be clear, and one of them had like just using those Hexen effects though in Z Doom, had lightning strikes, and it was like an ocean themed map. It was fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kinds of things do enhance the atmosphere, I think.
I had a quick weird story to share. I've talked about this in the forum before, but a long time ago, I must have been like 12, and I was really into PSX Doom, Final Doom at that point. We're waking up in the middle of the night thinking that I was hearing like arachnotrons in my backyard, and like
That's crazy.
Auditory hallucination that was happening while I was awake. And, you know, kids, I don't know, when you're at that age, your imagination runs away a bit more with you. And I just wouldn't let me play Doom for like 6 months. And I was devastated, you know. And
oh, man.
I looked
Sure, it wasn't your mother's vibrator.
it was definitely a hallucination, but it I think about that moment as kind of like amazing impact on me to where I guess it seemed real on some level. And you know when you're that age, when you're young like that, and you really fall into the game.
Oh hell yeah!
You get immersed a lot more.
I mean,
whenever I was like, I don't know, probably 7, that was whenever my dad bought me Ultimate Doom, like in the box. I played it, and I stayed up way later than I was supposed to playing it, and I ended up getting the decapitated rabbit ending. And I was like, as a 7-year-old, I was like, holy shit, it scared the fuck out of me. I didn't play Doom for about a month after that.
Yeah, I ran away crying away from that too.
Yeah, with the corpses that hang in the walls, on the ceiling and all that. They were also creepy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one texture with the guy
it was
like
just
chained
so
to the wall.
realistic for that time.
Yeah,
Even though it was just 2009, I was still fucking immersed by that. So ridiculous.
Yeah, certain things when used in certain ways, in Inferno, I think what is it, episode 3, map 4, House of Pain, that that one room where you can look through the windows and there's that other room that's just full of blood, and every wall has a corpse hanging from it. Like, I remember that being a little disturbing. Like there were certain points in the game, and especially in episode 3, where you actually, it was like, wow, like this could be like what hell actually looks like. You know?
In map 27, there's that room with a whole bunch of hand-getting corpses all over the room.
Yeah, and the walls are like soaked in blood, and there's a chainsaw, and it's like, oh man, it's really morbid.
You push a switch and you go down. There's a whole bunch of souls.
That was Monster Condo you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that part.
Scary. I had to minimize my screen. Well, I just pushed minus so I wouldn't see.
Well, you've got the same thing in the with the Barons of Hell nailed to the wall. Like, wow, what could kill these things? Nailed to the fucking wall. I mean, again, it's building atmosphere.
Yeah, Doom has some fucking amazing art in it.
Tower of Babel, when you see the hanging barons, you're like, okay, something's fucking way too tough, like, around the corner. Fuck.
Yeah, so someone has a rocket launcher.
That's awesome. What is I've always wanted to get in touch with like Adrian Carmack and like find out more about like if there's any like missing Doom art and stuff, because he makes some awesome stuff.
Yeah. John Romero's actually been publishing some shit he found on his hard drive.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. All the sprites and stuff like that. Some of that stuff's quite interesting.
Yeah, music. Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
It's cool.
Yeah, there was some unused music. Some of it was okay.
Yeah, about half and half, mix of good and bad.
Most of it was just short. Really short.
Yeah, there were like clips, like unfinished songs. Some of those sprites were cool too. Yeah, there were different, a couple variations of piles of skulls and things that were left out.
Pretty sure if I would see that huge pile there, that new pile that was unreleased, you know that big pile?
Oh yeah, there's a huge pile of guts that has like Marines and shit.
Yeah, the mountain of corpses thing. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I would shit my pants if I saw that in my.
Wonder if how that would actually look in game. I know some people tried to use it with it being such a wide sprite, and
Yeah, but some had to make it smaller.
Yeah,
I used it in I use it unedited in the Shovelware Adventure map, just a map that I made a couple months ago, and it actually.
I keep intending to play that. I saw the thread about it, and I was like, "Oh, it looks interesting." I think I probably downloaded it and just haven't had a chance to try it yet.
You might like it.
No, you always make cool levels. I played some of your stuff. What was the 7 map thing? Something.
Sinister 7.
7 Sins,
Yeah. I tried that. That was cool.
DoomKid.
Yeah, DoomKid. What was who did you work on Sinister 7 with?
Oh, that was the whole mapping thing was just me. Some of those maps were like stuff that I made for Doom World Mega Project in 2014. But there was one of the maps, Buckshot started this contest, and he was like, hey, if you can make a map that really captures the E2, E3 vibe really well, I'll send you a signed copy of D-Zone, like by John Romero.
In the end, only 2 combatants got in. That's it.
Yeah. I was like, damn, everyone's crazy, dude. Now I've got this signed. I'm glad no one else entered, because now I've got this signed Romero box, dude. It's fucking awesome.
And what the fuck is up with Doom?
Wait, so
Used to be cool.
Sinister 7 was supposed to be for that contest?
Not the whole WAD, just one map that was in the WAD. The rest of them were just like little maps I just randomly sort of made in that.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I do. I have Shovelware Adventure in my downloads folder, so I did download it.
Shovelware Adventure? What's that?
Along with an entire page of WADs that I haven't, and other files.
I do that as well. I end up downloading WADs and only play like a third of them.
Like, oh wow, this looks cool, and then you come back to the thread like, oh wow, this looks cool.
You're like, oh, I forgot that I fucked up.
That'll happen to me too. Like I'll go like on Doomworld and I go through like the WADs and mods pages and just go around. Like I'll go like from like page 1 through like 4 and just like go around, pick out stuff to download. And I'll spend all night doing that, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I have to go to bed. And then I'll just come back, and like next time I have a chance to play Doom, I'll be like, so what's on WADs and mods? And I'll just download more stuff instead of playing what I already downloaded. I just get stuck with like all these WADs that are. Yeah, there's so much good stuff out there. It's like it's hard to make time to play it all.
Yeah, there's just not enough time in a day really to.
The amount of content.
Even if you have a summer vacation.
You should try being unemployed. That really helps.
Fuck this job.
Quite finished with school.
Well, if I could get away with it, I definitely would.
What have you been doing lately, Dark Nation?
Sorry, what?
What have you been doing lately? Since you're unemployed, I'm sure you have a lot of free time.
Oh, hundreds of free time. Weekends don't seem to mean as much anymore.
Yeah.
Are you still working on your novel?
I've actually just got an interview for college.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be a mature student. Can't wait. Fucking millennials surrounding me.
Oh yeah.
Fucking days in paradise, man.
Yeah,
that was my experience.
Kind of a fuck, eat, kill situation.
Yeah, that was my experience in college too, because I as soon as I graduated high school, I decided to go straight to working. So I worked like 40 hours a week, and then like I saved up for my first house. And after I bought my first house, I decided to go back to school. And when I went back to school, like I had to have been like 26, but everybody else I was in school with was like 18, 19, 20. And they all just looked like children to me. And it was so weird because like when you're 18, you feel like an adult, but they were all like little kids. It was horrible because the kids that you have to deal with are just like I don't know, they have none of the same interests as you, and they're just like they're always like looking at their phones, and it's just really really difficult to get along with.
I have a little
going to destroy them.
Oh, dude! I went to. I was gonna do massage therapy, and I went to a school which I don't know why I was really good at, and I went to a school, and everyone there. I was only like 20 when I tried it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be the same age as everyone else. But everyone there was like 17, 18. I was like, holy shit! And they're all like afraid to touch each other. They're like, ooh, and I'm like, it's a fucking massage class. What the fuck do you expect?
That's so weird.
It's like, why would you go into that if you don't? And it just seemed like a thing that little teenagers would do, like go into a thing, and when you get there, be like, ugh. And I was like, okay, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Can't
especially
be afraid
weird for
of
me.
germs in a field like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just, I was baffled. I was like, at the time, I was only 20, and I was like, yeah, I still feel old compared to all these other students who are here.
Yeah, like
I'm
just that
gonna
couple
be,
years
what,
like makes such a
35?
big difference.
Fuck. Everyone else is going to be like fucking 18. My God.
Oh, good luck.
Oh, fuck.
That's like a completely different generation.
I know.
It's gonna.
Get off my lawn, you fucking kids!
Yeah, wagging your cane.
Yeah, I really confused sometimes when I hear new music, and I just feel like a grandpa because I'm like, Adrian was like, oh, I hate this music, and now I'm just like, what? Yeah, I don't understand it, and my friend was playing 2 Chainz, Watch Out. He's just like, watch out, little bitch. Watch out, little bitch. And I'm like, I don't understand this. Why? It's like, I'm so confused.
2 Chainz could be a good name for a map.
That actually would be a good map name.
Watch out, bitch.
Do you think there's a lot of
And
new,
I just,
do you think there's a lot of new kids on Doom World now? Like it seems like there's a lot of kids. Like, it seems like there's a lot of children based on the topics and stuff that are coming up on Doom World these days.
oh yeah.
Do you
the
think
new
so?
form
Like,
software,
well-
I didn't think it would, but it seems to have brought in a whole new sort of crop.
yeah.
You build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've got.
Behold their temple of faggotry.
Well, a couple of people that I've talked to on World Extermination already were like a lot younger than me, and I was really surprised for some of them because some of them are like really they seem really like smart and deep and interesting, but there's also like a handful of I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's not really easy to tell how old someone is by how they post, but I don't know. It does seem like there's new people registering to Doom World like almost every day. I mean, if you look at Doom World now, I think the newest guy like registered just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder where all these new people are coming from,
Yeah,
considering how old this
people
game is.
are always getting into Doom.
Yeah,
Now
there's a shitload of people in there.
You've got people who are having children who are old enough now that they're introducing their kids to Doom. So I mean, that's how long the game's been around, and
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, well, I have to say, when I start having kids, I'm going to make my kids play Doom. I'm going to make them do it. I'm going to strap them to the chair and be like,
Yeah,
enjoy
make them
this
fucking-
game.
Hell yeah.
Like Doom homeschool, give them assignments. You know, you have to beat map 10 of Sunder,
Make me
or you have to go sit in the corner, or you have to speed map. You know, this theme in under 2 hours.
Make them play Doom as like timeout.
Give them report cards.
I've
They'll
heard
just have them like print off the results screen. That's their fucking grade for
Yeah,
this.
they're intermission.
Yeah.
70% kills. Are you kidding me?
See me after class, young man. It would be good though to that was I've a few of the older Doom World members. By older, I mean fucking maybe not even 40, some in their 40s, and they have kids, and it's cool actually hearing some of them say that their kids get into Doom mapping, and that I'm like, man, it's being passed on to the next generation. That aspect I really like. So
Yeah.
Like a dodgy chromosome.
yeah.
Yeah, Purist, he released maps, like a set of maps called Maps by My 6-Year-Old Son, where he had his son draw pictures of Doom maps on paper, and he like transposed them into Doom, and released them for other people
Were
to
they
play.
any good?
I'm not going to comment on that. Well, they're not necessarily bad, but it was just like a really.
Some of them. They were freaking hard, man. That one hell base of
They're
Doom or
primitive,
whatever it was
they're
called.
They're your average newbie map.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were basic, but you know.
I mean, they
mean,
were
for a
based on
6-year-old,
drawings that the
like-
kid drew, so like it's
Shit.
like they probably. I mean, if I had to draw
And
maps
it's
on
like-
paper and then transpose them into a map that someone else drew, it probably wouldn't look that good. But that's just because they're not the one making the map, you know?
It's also you don't exactly know what sort of colors and lighting and stuff they had in mind.
Yeah. But it's cool that he was able to like get his son interested in like making maps and stuff. That's something that I've always been really fascinated with like the creative aspect of things. Like when I was a little kid, I always built with like Legos and like and Kinects and blocks and stuff, and I drew pictures. I always liked creating things. So that's what made Doom so special to me, is being able to make maps and stuff. And I would hope that by the time I have kids, that they'd have an interest in like being able to create things too. And then like I would like kind of encourage them to like be able to create their own visions and stuff in Doom World, just to see what they make, you know?
That was
fucking Terry Wads.
Yeah, what is it with Terry Wads? You guys saw that thread recently, right? About the Terry Wad split that came up. Like what exactly is a Terry Wad?
basically dog shit.
It's just dog shit.
Give you some kind of brief summary, because I still don't really understand exactly what a Terry Wad is.
Yeah, right. Like I haven't played a Terry Wad recently.
Someone said it's good, then everybody said it's not good, and then fuck not, and everyone went their way.
Okay, this is my understanding of what a Terry Wad is, and it's I don't know if this is true because I haven't played them any recently, but I've heard like people review them. So what I understand is that it's a map that looks like it's a pretty decent map when you start it, and then you get to a certain point in the map and it just teleports you somewhere else where it's just this shitty, fucked up thing, and there's like decorate monsters that are like the Romero head that shoots BFG balls at you, and just all kinds of fucked up shit.
Screams and rapes your ears.
Yeah, it
changes your name to Dickhead and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it messes up your configuration file.
Kids.
Yeah, so like, the object I think is like that it's some sort of like a prank wad. So it's something
prank,
that's
bro.
Yeah, so it lures you into thinking that you're playing a decent map, and then it fucks you over, and that's what a Terry Wad is. Am I understanding that correct?
That's what it started as. It's kind of just devolved into like general shitty joke wads that have. If there's some kind of trap, it's a Terry Wad, but it's very loosely defined.
Yeah.
Do you have any crossover with like the kind of 4chan type of stuff?
I think would it more likely like imagine if you could take. Are you familiar with YouTube poop?
I've made some myself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you could make YouTube poop into a Doom Wad, that's basically what a Terry Wad would be.
Okay, I was actually thinking that somebody was going to say that, because like a YouTube poop version of a Doom Wad.
Like, the only problem is like a well done YouTube poop's a lot funnier. Terry Wads could be a lot funnier as well. If it teleported you into a room that was actually funny, that would be cool. But it just like screams in your ear and says "cock" on the screen. Which
I'm actually really impressed
funny,
that this
for a brief second, but.
I'm really impressed that this episode started with a poop story, and now we're back to YouTube poop. We like went full circle.
Okay, so like, what would H Doom be then?
Oh, I never played H Doom.
Is an abomination. No.
I've seen a little bit of it. I refuse to play it. I don't know.
The whole thing. I played it. It's disturbing.
The H stands for hentai, right? I've never played it either.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I've never. I'm kind of like afraid to.
Where like if I see a sexualized version of like a cartoon I grew up with or something, it just kind of gives me this uncomfortable feeling, and that's H Doom in a nutshell.
Yeah, you kind of like look over your shoulder to make sure no one's standing behind you. You don't want them to see the screen. Like,
I haven't played it yet. I want to see what the Mancubus looks like.
Oh God.
I didn't even get to that. Like the title screen alone was like.
Well, thanks for putting that.
And I was
thanks for putting that thought in my head. Now I'm thinking.
I want to get around to it. Swimsuit calendar with Doom Demons.
That would be great.
You know you're in for a good time when you're actually so ashamed that you're like, oh God, I hope nobody sees this, because they're gonna, it's like you just said. That's why I want to play it, because I know it's just gonna. It's like, oh right, my childhood. You don't want to. It's just weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I feel dirty like looking at it.
I'll never look at an imp's butthole the same way again.
I was just like,
why can't people just go back to making those? Why can't people just go back to making X-rated WADs where they just have pictures of porn stars on on the walls.
Yeah, just give me a repeating 128 by 128 image of Pamela Anderson.
I've seen some of those on.
Oh yeah.
It's just like
it's almost like what hasn't been done with Doom, because all these movies and cartoons and different genres of games, like the fact that there's a working Sonic game. I mean, it seems like everything's up for grabs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Was there ever?
There is like
Was
a.
there
I'm sorry. What?
Jurassic Park Doom.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? After that spiel, I can't think.
I don't know why that.
God damn
That
it,
just
Megalyth.
popped into my head. I can't recall ever seeing
There was an
dinosaurs.
FPS
in Doom.
Jurassic Park for the NES.
Yeah, there were a few Jurassic Park games. There was a Trespasser. It was an old computer game, but
and I can already see a Jurassic
Yeah, I remember
Park.
that one.
Yeah,
Like
little
fucking
pinky
dark
demon
forest
raptors.
areas and fences and shit.
Trespasser, that was one where the life meter was on the woman's tits, right?
I think so. Yeah, you had to look down. Something like that. Well, they call it the box stacking simulator because it was basically it had a physics engine that they kept pimping it out as like the latest greatest physics engine, and a lot of the puzzles involved having to stack shit up and move shit around, but it became known as a box stacking simulator just because of how hard it was to get all the shit to like sit still when you set it on.
Yeah, I definitely did play that.
I've never actually played that myself. I've seen videos of it, and I remember when it came out, but
Just goes back to those games that have physics where everything's like way too bouncy. Like you put a box down and it's like bouncing all over the fucking place.
yeah.
Like it's a balloon or some shit.
I love when physics bugs happen in games when something like utterly outrageous. Like I remember playing some like Grand Theft Auto game
Oh yeah.
back in the day, and like I'd crash into a light post, and I'd go to get out of the car, and the car would start like spinning around the light post like a stripper on a pole, and then just like fly off into the sky and disappear, and crazy shit like that.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4 has
Dude,
some like
this is
crazy
fun.
videos where like you can get like a fire truck stuck on like a swing set, and like
That's what I was
somehow
gonna do.
yeah, like the swing set will like launch your fire truck across the city. It's like hilarious to watch.
It
I
kind of
used to love when that stuff happened in those games.
It's like negative, fucking what's it called? Negative momentum is applied. So it's just this 900,000 number of like how many
Yeah.
miles an hour you're traveling.
it kind of makes me wonder if there's ever going to be much of a role for physics in a Doom game, because with Doom 2016, they really any sort of physical interactions. I mean, there's hardly anything that you are going to be kind of bumping around.
Yeah, even the monsters had like really shitty ragdoll physics.
Well, this is the thing. This is an aside, but like I wish in Doom 2016 they'd had it so there was like a corpse limit rather than them just kind of going away instantly.
Yeah,
Like 10 corpses. Then once the 11th corpse is made, the first one disappears. And
Yeah, that'd
so
be
on.
cool. Kind of like decals, like bullet decals.
Yeah, you got
I feel like that should just be like a standard in every game. I'm like surprised when games don't have something like that.
Yeah, because it's like if you kill an enemy and then there's not even a single other enemy in sight, but it just disappears right away. I don't know. It just takes away some of the satisfaction, but that's probably just from growing up on the old Doom.
You mean you can't go up to it and teabag it? Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah. And it's 3D now. I should be able to teabag my fucking enemies down.
But yeah, that's one of the things that's like so special about Doom is that like when you lure a bunch of monsters into one room and kill them all, you have like this whole like mass grave of bodies that you can step over. Like there's no games like really recreate that anymore.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome. Well, look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. I love it.
Especially in Slaughterfest.
Yeah, the most recent game that I played that
you
was
can't
like
even see the fall.
yeah, the most recent game that I played that was like almost kind of like that was Dead Rising, because it had like so many zombies on the screen at once, and you could like if you did kill them, they didn't like disappear until you like walked off, until you walked in such a way that they were off the screen. Then they would start disappearing. But you could actually have like
That's
many hundreds of bodies on the screen, like on the floor at the time. But yeah, that's like
that's satisfying when you do it.
I was really surprised that wasn't in Doom 2016 though.
How many like in Doom 2016? What was like? How many monsters at a time do you actually fight? Like, do they throw like dozens of monsters at you at a time?
I think there's a maximum of 8 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's probably for hardware limitations, but
the most monsters you fight in Doom 16 is like the BFG demonstration with all the zombies. Otherwise, you see roughly around like 10 to 12-ish at max.
Which is I would think
a good number.
I wouldn't think that would be so stressful on the hardware, but yeah, I would think when you kill 10 monsters, have them start disappearing. Like maybe after you leave the area, and if you come back, the body is gone. But yeah, it would be cool. Like in Doom 3, like the demons disappeared basically right away. They just evaporated, and it was kind of
Doom 3, they looked so much fucking cooler when they went away, to be honest. Like the little ashy sort of
they kind of like disintegrated.
It's funny because like
fire.
Similar, but like I don't know, for some reason like Doom 3 feels better about it. Like I don't know how to pin that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know exactly what it was, but something just felt like right about the little ashes just sort of burning away.
Yeah, no, it looked cool.
What was weird
it
about...
just would have been cool if they stayed for a little longer than like a few seconds.
Yeah, what was weird about Doom 2016 is how like when Snap Map came out and it told you that the limit was 12 monsters. That was like really eye-opening. I was like, wait, is it really you can only put 12 monsters in the map at a time?
Yeah, that was a total boner kill.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking forward to Snap Map that much, to be honest. It's like, I just hope they make the single player and multiplayer both good. And
it's like Super Mario.
I've been seeing some videos that have been pretty impressive, and I saw Watcher's Step, from Doom 64 remade. And I think even Into the Void was remade, and it seems that they give you some options for props and stuff that you can kind of arbitrarily rotate, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can build your own geometry. Is that what you're saying?
I think for Snap Map, I think like single player stuff could be made well, but I really don't think the multiplayer stuff works out, especially with that monster limit. Because like, what if all 4 players get separated, right? Then if you have them fight equal fights, they're all limited to 4 apiece. Like, how do you really make that really that interesting?
It was just like a...
Like I said, it's like Super Mario. You can only put 10 enemies in at once. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I play Super Mario and I always see 10 enemies at screen at a time. Because if there's more,
well, when I played...
because it's a Super NES.
Yeah, right. I played some maps in
years and there's still no progress.
Yeah, I played some Snap Maps, and like it was a very short time before I started playing maps where like, I was playing like these invasion sets where you play where you fight against like waves of monsters, and like it was a very short time before I started playing a series of maps where like the final boss was just 12 Hell Barons at once, and I was just like, okay, I've seen the extreme limits of this game already. It's just it was so disappointing that like that
the experimental.
Yeah.
It was an experiment, and it was meant to like appease people because hey, you got mapping in Doom, but it just didn't really work out that well.
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to be really badass when the next Doom comes out. I think they're going to really improve on it.
Yeah, probably so.
Do you think there will be another Doom? Like, do you think they'll do another reboot in like 10 years from now?
I hope they do.
I think they'll do one in 2020. I think.
Really?
Yeah. They'll probably even do a sequel.
There's a little sign in the game saying, like, I mean, you can't, like, put all your faith in that, but, like, it says, like, either 2018, 19, or 20 or some shit like that, Doom 5. There's a little Easter egg.
They'll probably do a sequel, I would imagine. I think Doom 16 did pretty well.
Yeah, it got good praise in the end.
Is there any DLC for it?
There is some, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's some, like, DLC multiplayer maps, I think.
Yeah,
it's just multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, there's no second campaign, anything like that.
Yeah, but there's plenty of Snap Map though.
Yeah, I think it was probably a good idea for what it was. give like the average person who doesn't want to sink a bunch of time into learning how to make levels, the ability to just snap some stuff together, basically, and like, oh, I made a level, and and you can share it online and stuff.
Well, I think
for what it is, I guess, I haven't tried it myself. Just from watching videos, like, it seemed like pretty accessible for the average person who doesn't really want to get into game design, but just likes to play games.
Yeah, I'd rather use Doom 4 builder.
Yeah, if you're used to Doom Builder and you're like expecting Doom Builder, then it's sad, then it's disappointing. But just for people who want to be like, hey, make it a sort of unique arena here or whatever, then it's actually pretty good. I'm glad it's in, for sure.
I made the mistake of getting Doom 2016 for the PS4. So if I wanted to make a map, I had to use a controller to do it, and it's so annoying.
Yeah, that sounds kind of annoying.
It's so bad.
I just wish, I don't know if anyone here else even really cares, but I just kind of wish that they had that the multiplayer was a little bit different. But that was my only actual gripe with the game of any sort of substance,
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed it.
What was it about?
I'm just too used to the grab a super shotgun and fucking fly at someone at 1,000,000 miles an hour type thing, and I don't know why I was expecting that, but I kind of wanted that.
I think it was more or less like, if you look at the map design, because it spaces players far more out. There's a lot more like longer ground fights in Doom 16. I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of room, especially if you were into like using like the switch weapon cancels. There's plenty of room to like fucking just wreck people with the shotguns, but
Yeah.
Well, I found the level design to be very good. I didn't have any problems with any of the levels. I enjoyed a lot of them. My problem with multiplayer is that almost everything you learn in the single player campaign, you don't carry it over into multiplayer. Like, you don't like glory kills are like not a thing. I mean, they exist, but they're pretty much impossible to do. I don't know. Like, it matters how you look at it, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, you were playing on console, though, right? Yeah, that might have something to do with it. Yeah, that might, like, with playing a game with, like, all people with controllers versus, like, keyboard and mouse. Like, that's. Yeah, but the other thing that was surprising to me was that I was using the super shotgun pretty much all the time during the campaign. And they give you the super shotgun right away in multiplayer in the loadouts. And it's like one of the worst weapons. It was for me anyway. I had a lot of trouble killing people with the super shotgun and the rocket launcher too. It barely did any damage. Like, the big thing with like Doom 16, like in the multiplayer space for weapons, is like everything really like worked well in conjunction with each other, not really just by itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you looked at all the weapons by themselves in, like, the multiplayer, like, each on their own, they would just kind of mainly just suck. Like, yeah, really. I mean, like, if you use, like, the static cannon alone, you're going to get shit up. But, like, if you use a static cannon and then instantly flip to a rocket launcher, you're going to be shitting on people all day. Oh, so it matters, like, the kind of, the combination of weapons that you have and then being able to switch in between each one. Yeah, it's more, I guess it'd be more dependent. It's obviously, more dependent on your loadout, more dependent on your multiple weapons than rather if you look at like Doom or like any arena shooter where you're just like, what do I got, what I'm using right now. Yeah, but that's kind of like the emphasis in like games like Halo and Call of Duty though, right? Like, is having like two of like the best weapons and swapping in between.
I think they just wanted to like have that so that people who are currently playing a lot of multiplayer stuff didn't feel too out of their element. But in the end, it just ended up disappointing fans of like Doom and Quake Deathmatch, because the style itself isn't actually bad. It just felt out of place, I guess, in an id game. That was probably my main gripe. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from that. Now, like, here's my question: everybody wanted Doom 16 to be like Quake, right? Everybody's like, "You're going to strike down back," and like they're all freaking out. Everything needs to be more like Quake. All this shit. Like, how do you think they could change Doom, like a modern 3D Doom multiplayer, to be actually legitimately a different thing from Quake? I think probably the best thing to do would be to Quake 3 multiplayer. I think Doom Deathmatch, like Doom 2 Deathmatch, is better than Quake 3 Deathmatch, in my not that popular opinion. And like, I think the big way to do that is to like remove the emphasis on rocket jumping and like vertical combat. Doom 2 Deathmatch is in my opinion, it's one of its strengths. It's actually very horizontal. It's like it's a lot about finding places to hide, like find cover, and then as soon as someone else fires the BFG, you're covered, and then you come out a split second later with that super shotgun and blow them away. And I think a big thing as well was the amount of deaths and frags per second. Like in 1 minute, you could die and get 10 to 15 frags in classic Doom Deathmatch. You know what I mean?
Right. So are you saying have it be like more cat and mousey kind of gameplay?
That is, I would say that would definitely help to make it feel more in line with the old id shooters.
That makes sense.
In terms of multiplayer.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. The other thing that was kind of weird to me about the multiplayer is that well, when you play single player, you can pretty much kill like all the monsters pretty quickly. But then like they have like this demonic possession where you become a monster and then you're just like immortal for like 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, like aren't monsters supposed to be like really fucking easy?
That sounds like absolute shite.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. I found that Doom multiplayer was a real blast, and I think that it's because I don't mind it being a little slower.
I think that makes sense. You really gotta want something that's extremely fast. It's too fast for me half the time, but I actually like that about it. And that's a thing though. But I could see why that'd be a turnoff for a lot of people.
I'm older now. I just don't want it to be that fast anymore. I like to be just a touch more casual with it, because to me, I find Doom's multiplayer very fast, even though I recognize it's quite a bit slower than classic Doom.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classic Doom's multiplayer. When you get playing against people who are really good, like you got to have like really fast reflexes, and if you don't stay on top of your game and play like all the time, you start to fall off, and you're just not as good anymore. And
that's what I think I like about Doom 2. I think in terms of deathmatch, it's the fastest sort of player versus player first person shooter, even faster than Quake 3.
It's definitely faster than Quake 3.
And
The few times I've ever played it, I was always half decent at it, and like you said, you can rack up like a dozen frags in like a minute. I played on Dead Simple a few times, and I could basically like if you get enough people in there, if you're fast enough, you could basically hold down the fire button with the super shotgun, and as soon as he reloads, you could have someone else in your crosshairs and kill him. Like if you get like 20 people in Dead Simple and you're just running through like mowing people down, and everybody has like their frag counts are like 30, 40 frags, and the first person to hit 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quake 3. I used to play a lot of Quake 3, and that's even that as fast as it was. Like you didn't have that same twitch reflex thing that Doom had.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'll tell you what I found. When I'm playing Doom Deathmatch, after 15 minutes, my hands are absolutely killing me. Like, I've got bad fucking hands from too much typing and masturbating when I was a kid, but that does not happen, even on Doom single player. It's just so fast and tense, you're having to change your direction so many times, move your mouse X, Y, and Z. It actually does kill the backs of my fucking hands.
Yeah, same with speedrunning.
Yeah, speedrunning will fuck you up.
I have a feeling that, like, as the years go on, I'm just gonna get shitter and shitter at deathmatch as my hands get more and more fucked up.
I know. I get scared. About that too. But yeah. So like, when it comes to like something like Doom 2016 though, and like the casualization of multiplayer, that's probably a shitty word to use, but it does like when it comes to like, I don't know, like if you were to get somebody who's never played Counter-Strike 1.6 to play it, they're not even going to have a chance because the skill ceiling for that game is so high, and everybody who still plays it is dominating that game, and they're just not even going to be able to get anything through. And so like when it comes to like games kind of being almost like not I don't want to say dumbed down because that's like a really negative way of putting it, but like when they kind of make it so you don't die immediately every time you play, and you actually have like a chance, and like the weapons are balanced and stuff, and they have like these arbitrary rules that keep games from being too extreme in one way or another. It allows more people to like play it and enjoy it.
Well, you need to implement like a league system. You know, keep the shitty players in the shitty league. They can build their skills. The good players in the good league.
Well, yeah,
That's actually a good idea.
Right.
Have some kind of matchmaking. Usually, try to employ some of that, but
Yeah, well, there's got to be some way to like game the system, because like even if you're like really good, you can probably like do enough to make the game think that you're bad, and then like still get to play with the noobs and just kick ass whenever you want to.
Yeah. That would be, that's the thing that I like though about like Z-Demon, is it just tracks your EXP, and it would be cool maybe if you could just be like, you know, people who are very low on the EXP counter. I mean, I wouldn't want to have any segregation in place for Classic Doom because it's already so spread thin.
Black people to the other server.
Well, that's the thing. Like, but for a newer game that actually has like hundreds of people playing, you know, at low hours and then thousands playing at peak hours, it would be a good idea to be like suggested for, you know, if you have more than 20,000 EXP or whatever.
That I think that the classic Doom hyperfast gameplay is just kind of a relic gaming past. It's something that I don't think we're likely to see again in terms of the hardcore experiences. I mean,
It'll break my heart.
I used to play this is, you know, a bit tangential, but I used to play this platformer that was like action game, and you know, it had over a dozen levels, and there were no save spots, save points or whatever, and you had one life. And as I was only able to beat it as an adult by using save states in DOSBox, and I thought to myself, probably literally impossible for the vast majority of people who played it, and we don't. There's no. You're going to alienate too many people if you make games with that sort of hardcore challenge in this day and age.
Yeah, it's hard to get a really large fan base for something that's really difficult. But then again, I don't know, like on NES, Castlevania, for example, again, it's a really old game, but
that was what I thought of as well when I had the save states thing.
Yeah, same here.
Well, even the old Mario games are pretty damn hard if you go back to the NES, you know.
That's true.
I love it.
Pretty,
I love
it's pretty tricky as well.
The perception of difficulty has definitely changed over the years.
Well, yeah,
difficulty's a tricky thing to handle, you know. I mean, like, I don't know.
I like it when things are just like, fuck you, I'm going to be too... I prefer for a game to say, fuck you, I'm going to be too difficult, rather than to be like, no, I'm just going to kind of let you go. But I think that's not the common opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
I still play roguelikes and things like that. I think the trick is, if it's going to kill you, you've only got one life, and then you have to go back to the start all over again. The trick is to make it feel fair when it does kill you. It was your own fault.
Yeah.
Rather than some fucking bullshit
sure.
that comes out of nowhere and kills you.
I think Dark Souls does all that really well.
Yeah,
I never got to play Dark Souls. I bought the game, and literally the day that I went to put the disc in, my Xbox 360 got the red ring of death.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I have 1,000 hours into the first Dark Souls.
I never got to play Dark, and even when I bought the game, the guy was like, "Do you want to get the return policy on it?" I was like, "No, why?" Because it was like an extra $5. He's like, "Well, this game's really fucking hard."
Yeah, a lot of people like.
And if you want to return it when it's opened, we can't take it back unless you have this. And I was like, well, if it's that friggin' hard and I can't beat it, like, then you know it is what it is. I was like, I'm not going to spend an extra $5 just so I can walk back into the store and be like, I'm too much of a wimp to beat this game.
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks for fucking taking $5 from me, and not even having a game to show for it, assholes.
Like, one thing I want to say about Dark Souls, though, is, like, a lot of people are like, oh, the difficulty, but, like, really, Dark Souls difficulty doesn't even fucking hold a candle to shit like Battletoads or Metal Slug with no continuity.
That's why I'm glad Dark Souls exists, dude, because the modern era needed some games to fucking punish the players.
Yeah.
Sadomasochistic gameplay. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember back. Some of those old they call it Nintendo hard nowadays. Some of those games that like you said, there was no. We'll probably never see the same type of challenge again.
Yeah.
In games and some games come close, but I don't think people probably don't have the same maybe patience and attention span. I know I sure as hell don't. I don't have the time really to when I was a kid, I would devote hours and hours, and it would be like my life's mission to finish a game that I was playing.
Anybody play Splatterhouse 2?
Yeah.
I've
I've never played that.
Oh, it's great. It's really great. The graphics are really great. I tried to look up the artist who did all the sprite work, but I couldn't find nothing on him. Some Japanese guy. Yeah, that game's killer fucking hard too.
Yeah,
That was
Splatterhouse 2 is
Sega
like one of those
Genesis
like
game,
Streets
right?
of Rage type like beat 'em up games. And it is like super hard. But that's like that was like the era back then because like the cartridges couldn't hold that many levels, so like they would give you like 6 stages and just make them crazy fucking hard, and you only get 3 lives, so like you would get the most like replay value out of like a small amount of content.
Well, that's the thing, and I think as well that like, oh, sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Games are made long so that made hard so that people talk about them a lot and rage. So it's a lot of advertisement, especially nowadays on all kind of video platforms like YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's true as well.
Well, there is like a genre of extremely difficult platformers that's been coming out, like stuff like I Want to Be the Guy, even
Super Meat Boy.
shit that just kills you just for a laugh.
Yeah,
that's
Super
the
Meat
thing.
Boy is awesome though.
And
Like,
they're ridiculous.
Yeah,
I've tried a couple of those games. They are pretty ridiculous.
I don't know, the cool thing about Super Meat Boy though is like once you die, you don't like restart. It's just for that level, and all the levels are like popcorn sized.
Yeah, games that do that are cool. If they let you just keep trying the same level over, if you have an infinite amount of lives to keep trying the same level, like that's kind of cool. Like, and then you can get away with the game being stupidly hard because you're not sending someone completely back to the beginning of the game.
Yeah, if it's through like short levels or whatever the tactic employed, it's good to have reasonably regular checkpoints. Because I hate when you go back and you're like, well, I just lost 30 minutes. Fuck this fucking game. You know what I mean? There's as well as that, I think in the old days, programmers they were thinking like, right, thousands of other dedicated sort of nerdy type gamer dudes are going to be playing this, and now as a fucking team of 100 developers makes a game, they're more like, oh well, look, I mean, we want to make something. What would the average Joe sitting down be able to comprehend? So totally, like, it's being made for a different market. I think that's probably the main thing at play.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's one thing that's like been kind of like irking me about video games is that if I'm looking at like I can't really think of any specific examples, and I'm probably not one to talk because I don't really play a lot of other games, but it seems like games are kind of being geared more towards being more addictive and not as much like I don't want to say not challenging, but like they're just not like they have like details in them that like make them more attractive, that make you want to keep playing the game over and over again, but not necessarily like a testament of my skill when I play it. Does that make sense?
Point. I don't know if I've noticed that myself.
Definitely mobile games.
Blizzard's a huge company that's into that kind of like design.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it covers like the whole sort of modern spectrum. Like there are games that do fall into that though. Like a good analogy that's used, like a game that feels like a sort of heavy dessert versus a game that feels like potato chips. Like a heavy dessert, you don't want to spend that much time on it, but you do enjoy it. Whereas potato chips, you just kind of get trapped into continually going.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that would probably be like World of Warcraft, I would guess.
Right, or like Minecraft.
I've never
or like...
played. I never got into the game because I know if I did, I would probably spend thousands of hours.
I'd probably die.
And like Minecraft, like Minecraft looks really cool, and it would probably be really fun making all these levels, but I've never tried the game because I know that I would just sink stupid amounts of time into it.
It's fun, but I got bored of it rather quickly.
Right, and like games like Grand Theft Auto, for example, like the newer ones, they're just kind of like when I remember like one of my favorite Grand Theft Autos is Grand Theft Auto 2, and I would just start that game, get into a car, run over pedestrians, blow up some cars real quick, and it was just like I could get like my fix in like a good like 10-15 minutes and just create all kinds of chaos and stuff. And like
I know I've never completed a single mission in Grand Theft Auto on any I just always went on rampages. For me, that was all the games were for.
Right, and like in the newer ones, there's
sure
just
they
so
had
much packed in content
and whatever, but I never even bothered to try. I just went on rampages. I wanted to see if I could get 6 stars and how long I could survive with, a tsunami of police cars piling down the street after me.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
I think part of what makes Doom attract a particular kind of player is that if you are that type who in and out, like I tend to find myself more and more often just wanting to play for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes at a time. Like the idea of playing a game for a solid hour seems
okay
at this point, and I don't know, like Doom gives you that neat fix.
Well, Doom gives you almost whatever you want. If you only have 15 minutes and you can just bang out a level, if that's all you want, then that's all you have. But you can, if you want to, sink hours and hours into a big epic map set.
Yeah.
Which, if you have the time or the desire to do that, and there's so many levels out there that you can pick. Like, there's tons of single map releases all the time, and there's tons of megawatt releases all the time.
Yeah, the way Goatlord described it, that's exactly how I am too. I just want to play like a good, like I'll just go through like map 7 dead simple real quick if I only have a few minutes, and I just want to get like a quick charge, like just get like a, I don't know, just like it almost feels like almost like a fix, like I just want to kill something real quick and just have a good
It's
time.
a great design choice in a game. It's like a lot of games, it's like, oh, look, it starts getting really fun once you've put a lot of hours into it, or by contrast, it's like, oh, it starts getting boring if you spend too long on it, whereas Doom is good in that it's like, regardless of how little or long you want to play, you're going to get that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Whereas other games, it's like, you have to go long or you have to go short type thing.
Tantric Doom.
Yeah.
I can even get a fix just from going in Doom Builder and just kind of screwing around and play testing for a few minutes, and I'll find that that's as satisfying as anything else with the game. It's just kind of interesting how satisfying it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I've done that myself. I literally made a map that I titled Therapy because I made like this symmetrical arena that has a rocket launcher and a bunch of rockets, and there's just revenants everywhere. And I was just like, I just want to blow stuff up. And so I just made a map like that, and I called it Therapy because it was so exciting to play.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Therapy.
But yeah, it was therapeutic to play. It was just fun to have something that was just so chaotic and exciting to play in such a short amount of time.
That's a good map too.
Yeah, it only took it takes like maybe 5-10 minutes to beat, but I died like 100,000 times trying to play test it because it was crazy hard. But that was part of the excitement of it. And it was, I don't know, like the thing that's so appealing to me about Doom is that my normal everyday life is very boring. So it's fun to play something where I actually am challenged and like forced to play at my best. Because like everything in my normal everyday life, like sitting in traffic and doing work at the office, it's so boring and plain, and I need something that's like really fast paced that'll like make me excited,
Yeah, some extra excitement. I think I'm like the opposite. My job can be so challenging that at the end of the day I come home and all I want to I don't even have the mental energy to play games sometimes.
Yeah.
I just want to like watch TV or something or play with Legos with my kid.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot going on in your life, so I can understand that.
Yeah, there's time constraints too. I do every now and then have time to play a Doom level here and there, and I have a probably about 100 games in my Steam library, which may not seem like a lot, but sometimes a lot of them are bigger immersive games too that I really would love to get into and like sit down and maybe spend like, you know, an entire evening playing a game. I don't always have that option. And that's where Doom comes in, you know. If I only have a half hour, I can slap some demons around.
Well, that's the thing for me too. It's like I only fall back on single. You sometimes do need just a little way to unwind, and like I look to multiplayer first because it's fun to go into a server. Like if you see an active deathmatch server, it's fun to go in and just be like, all right, I'm gonna make 5 people my bitch, and then I'm gonna go and do something else. It's just very satisfying.
Yeah.
And you can do it so fast too. Like a round only lasts 4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
So it's like, okay.
That's like another thing that's like kind of driving me crazy about like modern games and stuff, is that there's not as many games that you can just like pick up and play real quick, get a couple minutes and like it kind of like charges you up for the rest of the day. Like I really thought at this day and age that loading times would just be like obsolete, but we still like have games where you have to wait like another a full 30 seconds loading for
a lot of immersion. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what, Joe?
And then Doom. So it takes a lot more time to you can't just pick and play because there's no environment like this when you just pick and play, and games are usually want that nowadays at least.
That's the thing. It's like that comes back to what we were talking about earlier about how like a game you have to spend a lot of time with it to get satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's like I like that when people say arcadey type game, I think what they usually mean is regardless of whether or not it actually was in an arcade, it's like you pop in, you do it for a few minutes, and then if you want to, you can pop on out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pick up and play, that kind of stuff.
That's like
I wanted to add that for me, I kind of have an obsession with the bizarre atmosphere that is created by Doom, through its art style and through its execution. And I'm a graphic designer who works from home, and I'm kind of constantly visual world if I'm working on something or trying to my online stores. And Doom is just kind of another one of those weird spheres. I can just sort of I sound a little rambly, but I kind of just fall in and out of these different little moodscapes, like these visual landscapes that are kind of happening in my head. And Doom is just one that I can fall into when I want something that's kind of evil and dark and kind of violent, like it's a mood thing.
Yeah, but it's also like unrealistic. It's like not like anything you would see in your normal life at any point in your life.
So what do you think when you're in a good mood then?
I for some reason have some calm obsessions with Doom. I usually feel asleep. There's a lot of dull colors, but they're the good kind of dull. They kind of make you comfortable for some reason. And I made that one thread in Doom World about I wanted to play a cozy map, but nobody knew what it is. Yeah, so I think I'm kind of
like a nice deep blue sky and like a sort of dark tone and like a nice MIDI in the background that sets.
I know that. I know that feeling from maps that I've played too. That cozy is exactly the word that I would use on some of it. Like some areas of maps, like and a lot of times it's an area where there's no monsters or anything. Just like you're off in like a side area, and you almost just like you don't want to leave because it's like, wow, this is like like almost comfortable and like
nice actual cave with some W fall.
My point shotgun secret is like this. It's really just green, gloomy, all happy.
I've been wanting to emphasize the importance of like for like when I like playtest some people's maps, I like to emphasize the importance of like an area that just has no monsters in it. Sometimes that can be a lot more telling of what is to come later on. and that can kind of like the way it like kind of breaks up the pace and stuff. It just makes it. I feel like that can make a map more interesting if there's periods where there are no monsters in it, and that where you actually take time to like absorb the visuals and stuff and things like that too.
Yeah, I've been putting that in my levels lately as well. Almost like it's almost reminiscent of like the safe rooms in Resident Evil, where you're locked in a room, no monsters can get you. You have the box where you have your inventory stuff. You have a save point. You're completely safe and cut off from like all the craziness that's going on out there.
Right.
And I've been putting. It's a level I haven't released yet. I think Alfonso played it on a stream once, but I have a couple areas in there where nothing can get to you, and you have like a cool view of the outside and things like that. But it's just like a dark corner of the map with like a forgotten like storage unit somewhere. It's got some crates, some ammo, and like just a little place to chill for a minute before you head back out into the fray.
It's like
that's
break.
When I think of like a cozy area, like I've been putting like cozy areas in my maps.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
I like that term, cozy.
I invented that.
I know a lot of people they prefer like in levels where that feeling of never feeling safe anywhere, which I guess if that's the level you're going for. I've always liked being able to retreat somewhere, or just having a space in between like a big battle and a hectic thing, and then you go off to the side, like you've completed that little objective, and you get to explore some like forgotten tunnels for a minute and restock and regroup, and then head back into the battle.
Yeah, well, in my experience with some levels that I've been playing lately, is that I'll find like people will do like that constant monsters everywhere type of gameplay in a very, very long map, and it gets so exhausting. And it's like, man, just give me a break. And it's when you do get like those breaks in between, it makes the next encounter so much more significant, because it's just like, oh shit, like it kind of like builds up suspense before the next encounter. And if you're playing a map that just has monsters everywhere all the time, you don't get that kind of suspenseful feeling.
There's a new map I made. It's really detailed. I already told you about Fortiosi. I told him about it. When you pick a key, you have all stuff dead, and you just go back where you started. And it's a long walk, but it's like a walk in the park. That's what I had in my recent map.
Yeah. And it makes it it's kind of like a fun, like kind of relaxing stroll.
Yeah, except the map is really hectic actually. So it's probably what you after 40 hours.
I have a question to ask you guys. It's completely off topic.
No off-topic questions. No, I'm just kidding. You can talk.
No Commander Kings.
Like with classic Doom Deathmatch, what do you guys think could be done? 40 Ounce asked me this whenever I was on WXR. I thought it was an interesting question because I had no fucking clue what to respond with. What do you think could bring more people into classic Doom Deathmatch? Maybe make them, because there's a lot of people who are regularly willing to try and make maps or play maps for single player, and it's like
I'm sorry, what did you say?
So
Joe?
I was just curious if you guys had any.
I'm not sure. I don't play enough deathmatch. I haven't played Doom Deathmatch in a long time to really
either.
Because there's so many game modes that people come out with all the time, and like push and last man standing and stuff like that, and survival co-op, and it seems like no matter what new aspect and like different flavors you throw at people, they might try it for a little bit and then always go back to like just playing Duango all the time or something. Like I don't know if there's really, with such an old game.
When I think about it, like, and I do play a ton of single player myself, and I think part of the reason is what we were discussing earlier. It's about how like when we were talking about how like Quake is like it requires that like extra like high, it has like a really high skill ceiling, and it has like you need that like extra twitch energy, and you need to like keep playing it to stay sharp at it. And I find that experience with myself too, is that like sometimes like in the past I used to play a lot of capture the flag and some deathmatch here and there, and I got pretty good at it. But I feel like if I were to play it today, I wouldn't be half as good as I was back then. And that's kind of disappointing because like I can't really show off my skills, and I have to like keep working at this muscle. Like, and it's
like this.
It's like it's just like
I think I understand. So it's basically like you're worried that if you go into a game, it's gonna suck ass because everyone's gonna be a lot better. Is that what it is?
Yeah, kind of. It's just well, maybe I'm not necessarily
part of it.
I'm not necessarily comparing myself to other players.
That could be a part of why not many people try it nowadays.
I'm comparing myself to how I was before, and it's like it's just not as good as it used to be. And like with monsters, they're always doing the same thing. I memorize their attack patterns, so like it's even though like I do occasionally like take breaks from Doom and then play like a really hard map, and it's hard to be good at it again. But it doesn't take very long for me to get back into the groove of things, and I feel like that would be harder for me in something like deathmatch where I'm playing against other players that are very dynamic and like always getting better depending on how much time they have to practice.
Unpredictable, yeah.
So what to do about it, I don't know. It's a very, I don't know. Like I was kind of disappointed when I made that kill the Cyber Demon thread, because some people thought it was a really good idea, but other people said like those new game modes just fall flat all the time. So I thought it'd be cool to like make a game mode where you can kind of combine things that you learn from playing single player with deathmatch, or not deathmatch, but like player versus player gameplay. And Kill the Cyber Demon is one of them, where it's, I don't know if you guys read the thread, but it's a game mode kind of like Capture the Flag, except each team gets a Cyber Demon that the other team has to kill.
There's too much negativity in multiplayer. There's not enough like of a positive fostering environment for new mappers and stuff like there is in single player. And I think that's one thing I've noticed. Just to build on that point you made quickly about the thread there with the Kill the Cyber Demon thread.
Yeah, I mean not
Darknation. What were you trying to say?
Well, I was just saying if you want to get new people into playing your basic Doom 2 deathmatch, then I would say the way to do that, enhance the social aspects of it. You set up leagues, you set up clans. It's not about changing the gameplay, because the gameplay is good. Everyone likes fucking playing Doom, right?
Right.
So what you need is a structured way to play Doom. That way you get
that's a good idea.
Certain times, blah blah blah.
Well, I don't know, because I think we do have clans, and we do have some organization and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think Darknation brings up a really good point. Because, like everything, Doom's an amazing game and everything, but the software for it inhibit a lot of sociability into it. It's quite dated in that aspect.
That's the thing. I wish that there was like a Doom launcher. There's good Doom launchers, but it'd be nice if there was one that just automatically like went and sought out the newest version of Xandronum, Z-Daemon, and Odomex, and like instantly put you in, I don't know, the 4 or 5 main IRC channels. So like right upon opening that fucking thing, you can connect to a bunch of game servers, and you're automatically connected to like the social chat rooms as well. And I think that would enhance the social element. Like it's there already, but it takes so fucking long to get it set up. Like it pushes the average person away. They're like, even if they are a bit interested, fuck
yeah,
that,
it should be instantaneous.
I think that just keeps the kids away.
DoomKid, I wanted to that it seems kind of like, and I mean, I've seen this certainly within the Quake community, and I think it happens somewhat within the Doom and some of these other 90s shooters. Sometimes they don't make the executables for like these source ports and the multiplayer parts. They're sometimes really difficult to set up, and you've got to go through a lot of weird steps. And I think, as you were kind of saying, like making this easier, making this kind of, some of these steps required are probably a bit challenging for casual gamers.
Yeah, I would say so. That's one thing I like in Z-Daemon is its launcher instantly puts you into the chat room and instantly has the servers on display. And you can change shit as you want, but as soon as you open it, it's just there and ready.
Yeah.
Like I wish others would take note and do that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when it comes to something like deathmatch, it's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the community. Like maybe it's just not, and there's not enough people. So there's people that are like from different countries and stuff. So it's hard to find. There's like time zones and stuff involved. So it makes it hard to find people that you want to play with, and it's just it takes longer to set up than it does to just play single player when there's like thousands of maps to play and there's always something new to play and you can just load it up instantly. I don't.
I mean, Doom is kind of a single player biased kind of community, is it not?
Yeah, it kind of is.
I would say that's fair to say.
Yeah, I just it's a hard question to answer. I don't know.
Because we had some threads talking about whether like Doom 16 should even have multiplayer.
I remember.
And there were some people trying to come in there like, Doom's never been about multiplayer. No, not how they went at all, but...
Fuck these people.
It's so
funny.
Well, yeah, I remember some YouTube video had like 500,000 views, and the guy was like, "I don't know why people are saying this. Doom multiplayer wasn't even in Doom," and I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, dude!
Yeah,
seriously,
you're killing me here."
They were playing deathmatch in the office, like during the alpha stages or beta stages, I think. It was a major part.
Yeah, I really think anybody who wasn't like around or had the internet at the time should read. What was that book about the Doom development?
Masters of Doom.
Masters.
Yeah, they talk about Doom tournaments in there.
Good about. Like I wasn't old enough, like when Doom came out to like experience that. I was out in bumfuck fucking country. We didn't have internet, so like that was kind of unheard of. I don't know. I think like people should like educate themselves a little bit.
Is it maybe a reaction to everyone being terrified that the single-player campaign was going to be absolute shite?
Well, that was the thing.
Oh no, don't put deathmatch in it. Put all the time into the fucking single-player thing because everything up until that point had led us to believe the single-player campaign was going to be shite.
Yeah, it looked like Call of Doom.
Yeah.
What would be the point of making a Doom game without multiplayer? Like, why would they even, like, I wonder, like, what that even, like, with that thing you were saying, MrGlide, earlier about how, like, someone said, like, multiplayer shouldn't be in Doom. Like, why would that even be an argument? Like, what's the problem with having multiplayer in a game like Doom?
The development time.
I think the main bitch was about how the DLC was coming out for multiplayer packs instead of like the single player.
Oh, okay.
But to be fair, like the multiplayer DLC was what was helping fuel the development for what Snap Map was getting more so. So like I don't know, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm glad that they ended up putting multiplayer in Doom 2016, even though it wasn't kind of what I wanted. I was glad it was there. If it just wasn't there at all, it would have been like, fuck.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I had a great time while I did play it. I maxed out and all that. I had a lot of good times with it.
Yeah, I got a good few hours out of it. I didn't play it like all the time, but there were like times where I'd pick it up and play for a few hours, and I did have a good time. I wasn't like severely disappointed or anything. It was different than what I expected, but I don't really know. I wasn't really sure I knew what to expect, but I don't know. It was okay though.
Because it was canned. It was canned in the first release. Before they canceled the first edition.
Oh, yeah.
So people thought of something different then, and then they kind of forgot that it was cancelled. So they were expecting that exactly.
I'd like to ask a quick question.
Okay.
Whoever wants to answer, probably everybody will answer. If there's anything in particular you're looking forward to, or not looking forward to, but like things that you like to see in the future, I guess, when it comes to kind of classic Doom modding, because I find myself hoping that the and especially Doom 64 aspect of that will become more of a thing where we actually see a lot of creativity and a lot of cool stuff being done with those.
With like EX, because like EX comes with its own Doom builder and everything.
Yeah, just not a lot of people are working with it right now. And I want to see the eventual emergence of a Doom 64 like X modding community, like that kind of thing.
You know, I think like one of the big things that kind of helps, I guess, spur the Doom single player WODs a lot is like the Keiko Lords and all the attentions that the WODs get for them. I guess like if a decent amount of us could try to rise up and push forward for that, I think we could easily see more Doom 64 WOD sets.
I have a project that I'm working on.
It's a little more involved too.
Yeah.
The lighting and the scripting. Maybe that's why it hasn't quite kicked off. It's a lot easier to make a Doom 2 map than it is to make. I mean, the architecture and everything is essentially the same as far as building the level, but it's got the macro system where you can set up like really complex interactions with the map and the lighting. The lighting is a big thing and it's very involved, and the map is going to look like garbage unless you do the lighting right. I've messed around with it a little bit, and it's so involved, and you have the whole entire color palette, and you can set 5 different aspects of lighting for every single sector. So it's like holy shit. Like, okay, you can have the floor a different color than the ceiling, and the walls have a gradient, and it's like holy crap. And you're talking about doing the lighting for an entire map, whereas in Doom it's just like you either set it from 0 to 255, and that's it.
Yeah, and no wonder that game felt so fucking atmospheric. I never realized it was so intense, but now that I think about it, when you look around, you really can't see the lighting is far.
Yeah, and if you open it up, if you go in Doom Builder 64 and look at the textures, most of them are just grayscale. And when you play Doom 64, most of the colors that you see are because they applied a color to the flat or the texture to give it like. So if you just had like plain white lighting throughout the entire level, it would look like really, just drab.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets. So I think that's what turns a lot of people off Doom 64 level making, is just how involved the lighting is to make it look good.
Yeah, I've been mapping long enough that I can kind of. I've gotten to this point where I can pretty much create anything that I can put my mind to, and that's kind of what I'm working on with my new project, which is it's the spiritual successor to UAC Ultra 1, which is so like I have this texture set that I made that I spent many hours on, and it has a lot of it takes a lot away from Doom 64, which is like it has a lot of emphasis on lighting and stuff. So I have this whole texture set where I have textures for like very specific uses, like some with like baked in shadows and things like that, and like colored, like I can kind of fake colored lighting by having these textures that gradient into different colors. And so I have like this new setup coming out. So I have this ambitious idea for this project where I can actually create maps that have like actually very realistic looking lighting, and in that way I can make pretty much exactly the kind of maps that I want to make. And I have a lot of like gameplay concept ideas that I want to emphasize and stuff. And I have a really big attraction to the original PC Doom because that was the first one I played. So I don't think I'll ever like actually get into Doom 64 modding, but I do like a lot of aspects of Doom 64, and I have ways of migrating what I like from Doom 64 into regular PC Doom. So as far as like so to like answer your question, what I would like to see in the community, it's tough to say because I can make whatever it is I want, what I have in mind. But I would like to see people putting a little bit more. It seems like around like the mid 2000s and stuff, it seemed like more people were having an emphasis on like making good looking detailed maps, and I do see a lot of people more interested in focusing on gameplay and thinking of like detail and detail and like aesthetics, putting like almost second.
No, that's Max's home. He's sitting on my lap now.
Makes more sense than the rest of us.
Sorry, 40.
No, it's okay. It's great that we have another person on this podcast. Who else wants to be? Is anybody in the Twitch chat? Maybe we can just add some people and get like 1,000 people on this show. But yeah,
Sitting about 8 viewers right now.
We kept talking about everything.
Yeah, well, for the future of Doom, I think
all this shit, you know.
I'm actually very satisfied with where the community is going, and how it's doing so far. I mean, we have way more maps than we're gonna have time to play, and we have a ton of great mappers.
Yeah,
too.
there's something for everyone.
So
I'm just really glad it's as strong as it is, and it's going with such strength after all these years.
yeah, we're really fortunate. Really, it's pretty amazing.
I remember when I was like 9 years old. I was first looking around. I was like, yeah, the community is probably at, in its twilight stages, so I better get in and enjoy it while I can.
Right.
And then here we are this much longer.
Yeah. It's really amazing. It makes me really happy that people are still interested in Doom, because Doom is just the game. Like, that game was my game when I was a little kid, and it's still my game now. And I don't think anything's going to replace it. And I'm just so happy that the community is as big and full of people as it is.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Really, over the years, there's never been anything quite like Doom and the community around it and the things created for it. It's entirely unique.
Yeah.
Hi.
Doom. Okay, do you guys want to wrap this up? I think we've been talking for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I was just gonna. My family just got home.
Okay.
Graduation party they were at, so.
Okay. Well,
really about that time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for being on the show.
Suggestion for a possible, future group thing. I think it would be kind of neat if we got some people together, maps, and release them, and then we kind of like just talk about each other's maps, because everybody would be on the same page. But
that'd be badass.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. That's a good idea.
Why not?
I mean, I don't know about the audience, because they wouldn't have necessarily played them, so I don't know.
Yeah, but we could release the maps
Yeah,
before
it's
it's going to be reviewed, then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we can talk about in the future. All right, so
It'll take a lot of planning.
What future?
all right, so thank you everybody for being on the show, and thank you Space Marines for listening, and keep making maps and keep talking about Doom, man. There's so much to talk about. Keep well, if you want to listen to more episodes and listen to them live, follow me on Twitch. I also have a YouTube channel, so all my episodes are uploaded on YouTube, so you can listen to Doomers talk about Doom. And keep killing monsters and keep doing stuff and keep making maps, giving us more stuff to play. And
It was really good.
yeah, and if we have more topics to talk about in the future, I would really appreciate your comments. So yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, hell yeah. It was
Yeah,
Been
those
fun.
are cool. Man.
Bye.
Later. That's my final note.